While on a private plane with MK, who killed his brother, Durk confessed to killings on camera, including the murder of Quando Rondo's cousin and ordering the assassination of an informant's baby mama. The feds were forced to adopt strategies that have been used to bring down mafia families because Lil Durk was actually out there acting like a mafia boss.
Right?
Okay, well,
How the f is these paying for a jet?
Durk is likely to be revealed as an OTF snitch. In interviews, he has frequently shown his dislike for information leaks.
If you ever told, you ever tell, I hate you, like with a passion. I really hate rats with real passions. Like, I hate you bad. I'm looking to the camera. I hate.
The absurd thing is that Durk may be handcuffed as a result of a report by one of his men. Court documents state that a trusted crew member known as OTF Jam played a key role in the inquiry that resulted in LilDurk's demise. As it turns out, this individual was an informant who had been assisting law enforcement for years before being freed from prison in 2022 after spending 12 years for attempted murder. The most strange part of all of this is that the indictment claims that Jam's recordings and the information he gave the federal government were betrayals that nobody, not even Durkio, anticipated. Were essential in linking Durk to the now famous murder for the high-level plot that almost brought Quando Rondo to his demise. Durk's part in exposing the OTF boss and his secret recordings, which have been the basis for the prosecution against Durk, may start to seem like the worst case of backstabbing in hip-hop history if you are aware of OTF Jam's relationship with Durk. Longtime OTF member Jam was considered a brother by Lil Durk during his 12-year sentence for attempted murder. Durk provided him with financial support and ensured that Jam's needs were met, including paying his legal fees, purchasing a home car, and providing him over $50,000 in cash.
On the 19th of July, 2024, at approximately noon.
But that was insufficient. Given that Durk also took care of OTF Jam while he was in prison, why would someone be so conceited as to hurt their friend?
An SUV was identified, and an anonymous tip provided crucial information that helped identify the suspect. Months passed as investigators.
Sources claimed that Durk might have played a role in his baby mama's demise. In an effort to get even, Lil Durk found out that Jam had been wearing a wire the entire time. Durk pursued his child's mother, Octavia Redmond, because he was aware that getting an FBI informant market could attract unwelcome attention from the federal government. Octavia Redmond, a beloved postal worker in Chicago's West Pullman area, was sadly killed on July 19, 2024, at approximately noon. When a stolen SUV approached, she was preparing to deliver mail in front of a house in Chicago. Later, the car was recognized as. The getaway car was driven by a suspect who was 15 years old. Octavia was gravely wounded on the ground when he exited the SUV and shot her numerous times up close. Then, in the stolen SUV, the man hurriedly fled the scene. The Chicago Police Department launched a comprehensive investigation to identify the culprit after the shooting. Additionally, the U.S. Postal Inspection Service became involved and offered a substantial reward for information that resulted in the suspect's arrest and conviction. After being transported to Christ Hospital in critical condition, the 48-year-old woman was pronounced dead there. Authorities tracked the suspect's activities before and after the shooting using both police and private camera footage as the inquiry went on. An anonymous tip yielded crucial information that helped identify the offender, and the stolen SUV was identified. Detectives diligently worked for months to apprehend the criminal, but the breakthrough came when the culprit was located in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and taken into custody on suspicion of homicide. The perpetrators announced a $250,000 reward on their account for information that would result in the arrest and conviction of the murder suspect. Word for murder, what particular information did OTF Jam provide to the authorities that could lead to Durk's execution? Durk was loyal to his friend Jam, but he decided to become what the Chicago rapper hates most, a rat. But it didn't help that his baby's mother had been killed. The damage had already been done. OTF Jam's confessions to the police began with the tragic events of November 6, 2020, when King V. Duro's best friend was assassinated outside of the nightclub in Atlanta. When one of Quando Rondo's entourage members allegedly shot V multiple times, resulting in his death, the physical struggle between Va and Rondo turned violent. V approached fellow rapper Quando Rondo and punched him to the ground, according to dead CCTV footage. As Quando made a fruitless attempt to escape his assailants, these guys came in and started pounding the brakes off him. Everyone ran as the attack went on, and one of Hugh's homeboys, later known as Lil Tim, came from behind their car with a gun and started shooting. While in the hospital for LilDurk's surgery, V was shot in the torso and would subsequently pass away from his wounds. In addition to being a personal sorrow, his friend's passing sparked further hostility toward Quando Rondo. There were rumors that Durk had put a bounty on Rondo's. According to court filings, OTF Jam informed police that Durk used coded language to tell OTF members that he would offer a reward to anyone who would help kill Rondo Durk after V's death. Danger Wilson, Durk's cousin, also told OTF members that OTF, which in August 2022 was also a music label, offered lucrative music prospects to anyone involved in the murder. The industry is experiencing dread and conjecture as a result of this knowledge. Apparently, Quando Rondo was staying at a motel in Los Angeles when LilDurk's associates found out, and Deandra Wilson of LilDurk's associates made plans to MK Quando. David Lindsay and Keith Jones, ASA Houston, went. The team was committed to completing their objective with accuracy and secrecy, avoiding any direct connections to Durk by allegedly obeying his directives to refrain from booking flights under names connected to him. According to the feds, they were able to get information from Durk's iCloud, where he cautioned them against making any reservations under his name. However, they proceeded to use a credit card associated with Durk and OTF to buy the flights. When the OTF members arrived, they met with top associate Keon Grant, who had taken a private plane to Los Angeles. Grant carried out a vital part in making the operation possible by arranging for the crew to stay in a hotel, purchasing ski masks, and obtaining 2 high-end automobiles to be utilized during the ambush. Court documents also show that Grant provided firearms, including one modified to operate as a machine gun, to Jones Lindsay and an unidentified third party. The group allegedly began following Quando Rondo and his associate Robinson as they drove a Cadillac Escalade around Los Angeles as the day went on. They traveled to a clothing store and a marijuana dispensary in the correctional facility in West Hollywood. Here at ASA, the day's activities came to a head at a gas station across from the Beverly Center, a bustling district in the center of Los Angeles. The suspects were clearly pursuing their targets and waited for the ideal opportunity to attack. Quando Robinson and Rondo stopped at the gas station, and Houston is accused of deliberately positioning his car behind the station to get ready for the ambush. Jones Lindsay and the third unidentified man reportedly exited their vehicle armed and ready to execute their plan. After that, the suspects started shooting, showering Rondo with bullets. Unfortunately, while Rondo was being shot, El Pogue Hugh's cousin was standing outside the Escalade and was struck and killed by the bullets. Fortunately, no harm was done. The scene was one of mayhem and terror, with suspects fleeing and bystanders fighting for their lives. The defendants allegedly discussed payment with the scammer when they later met up at an In-N-Out hamburger restaurant. Grant and the group returned to Chicago via plane from San Diego as investigators began to piece together the details of the brazen attack. There are rumors that Durk has paid for many more killings than these two, such as his brother's murder and the murder of an OP who ignored Vaughn's warning. Additionally, Durk has been acting carelessly for a while, and Durk has funded the first murder as part of a larger plot in which Durk has been involved. On June 7, 2021, a Sunday morning, Lil Durk's brother V was killed outside a South suburban strip club. This is where the story starts. Dane was shot in the head, and Harvey was shot. At the spot, he was pronounced dead. Durk put a bounty on the head of Stephen Ma after hearing rumors on the street that he was the one who killed Dang. Mac was shot and killed on January 7, 2022, in the Youth Peace Center of Rosian, located at 420 West 111th Street in Chicago. Later, 2 individuals were accused of murder for hire, Preston Powell and Anthony Montgomery Wilson. Max's murder was the result of meticulous planning. Montgomery Wilson Powell and other unidentified conspirators allegedly conspired to have Mac put to death in return for cash, according to the prosecution. A 2014 Chrysler 300 and a cell phone were used in the conspiracy, which they deemed to be interstate commerce facilities. Mac was killed when a shooter got out of a car and started shooting as he was leaving the Youth Peace Center. Although he survived the attack, a security guard was also injured. The gravity of the charges against the 2 individuals was demonstrated by the release of the indictment, which had previously been kept under seal. Montgomery Wilson was charged with both a firearms offense and a greater count of person murder as the legal processes developed. He was arrested and subjected to the full weight of the charges against him during his arraignment. Montgomery Wilson pleaded not guilty, opening the door for a contentious and protracted trial. It is expected that his defense team would challenge the prosecution's evidence, which includes alleged photos from the U.S. Attorney's Office showing him chasing the victim with a gun in his hand. Law enforcement is actively looking for Preston Powell, who is still at large. It is believed that Durk paid for the well-publicized killing of FBG Duck. V was said to have put a $100,000 bounty on his head when his killers were caught in 2021. The individual who paid for the hit, however, provided the killers with custom-made blockchains, exposing a rat in Oblak who worked with the feds. The hit on Duck was paid for by Durk, according to sources in Chicago, despite a YouTube video showing King Va handing out custom-made chains to Oblak members. I don't think V paid the Oblak gang members to kill FBG Duck and FBG Butter, and I'm sorry for revealing to the public who actually did pay them. As it turns out, Muop and C Murder were not arrested in a lock. Thus, you need to see the suspect's arrest video.
Vaughn paid them guys. I'm sorry to tell the world.
FBG Butter says you have to watch the suspect's arrest video to see who actually hired the Oblak gang members to kill FBG Duck, since it turns out that C Murder as well as M, the OOP, were not arrested in Oblo.
Coming out from when they got arrested for this Duck case.
Yeah.
They ain't shown Muwop shit. Or C Murder's happening. Have y'all saw Muwop and C Murder go to jail on camera yet? Because everybody else.
Someone with that much money could fly out to Mapo and witness murder on a private aircraft, as V was already dead when they were caught. No normal Oblak gang member could afford to charter a private plane. Thus, it's strange that they were apprehended at a private hangar. The guys were brought to a private hangar at the airport. LilDurk.
Y'all snatched at the airport on a private.
Additionally, Durk may have ordered the murder of FBG Cash, one of Duck's closest pals, for displaying appreciation for Vaughn's mural. Cash decided to take a photo next to the artwork after King Va was killed, pointing the blame at the rapper. This stunt did not sit well with V's crew, especially V's best friend LilDurk, who, instead of showing grief for the deceased, captioned the photo, saying, "The entire world witnessed why the main sniper got his splack." LilDurk chose to advocate on behalf of. Va threatens Cash in his song Computer Murderers that he will use Durk's beat on the song and carry on his new criticism of Von Morale's sleek images of WS, like Lil Bro won't come out and spin, as if he loves the spotlight. Since King Von was clapping his ass while singing a vow and even started mocking his operations in interviews, we believe he was being overcharged. In one interview, when asked about his famous act at King Von's mural, he said that LilDurk had given him the order.
Take the picture in front of Oblak, in front of the King Von mural. So what was going on with all that?
Durk told me to do that.
Durk's social media warning foreshadowed what would happen next, and it was inevitable that his operations would come up with him. If he was lingering and pursuing someone who wouldn't work out, Durk had warned him on Instagram not to do this. A few of his buddies also said that a woman had set him up.
5 o'clock that morning, you was loose as hell. You trying to ride around with in a rack, Come on, bro. Ain't no doing that, cuz. You know.
Cash went to a nightclub on June 9, 2022, after getting picked up by a female acquaintance. The youngster was in the back seat when Cash drove the car home at about 5 in the morning, saying she was tired and wanted to go to bed. 3 males jumped out and began shooting Cash as soon as he stopped at the stop sign on the 1600 block of West 81st. He retaliated and got out of the automobile, but he was soon overpowered. After being sent to Christ Hospital in Oakville, Cash reportedly died from his injuries there a few weeks before the horrific incident that claimed his life. FBG Cash was a part of a shooting incident and even suspected that he was set up by the woman he was with. Thankfully, he just sustained a slight injury to his arm and lived through the event.
Damn. Like the bullet had ripped all my jacket. Like.
When a man started blowing up the woman's phone at around 4:20 a.m., Cash had just left the studio and gone to her home. The male was the girl's boyfriend, according to Cash. The woman then told Cash that her boyfriend may come at any time because he had the house keys. After deciding to leave the residence, the two of them hopped into the woman's vehicle and drove off with money in the backseat. The rapper used his phone while lying on his back and leaning back in his seat, the one thing that saved his life that night. They stopped at a red light on the way home when an automobile approached from behind. According to Cash, the rapper peeped at the policeman, but he was unable to see clearly, so he went back to his phone. A stream of bullets broke his windshield, but luckily he was out of range when the woman hurried away before anyone could be shot. People in Cash's immediate neighborhood warned him not to hang around the woman since she was an Instagram model, and they had only gone out 3 times before the event, suggesting she may have set up the RP.
4 o'clock in the morning.
And who would know where I was at?
Exactly.
Like, fuck, I wasn't, like, you
know her car.
You can't see in my car, and then fucking, it's not like I was sitting straight up in her car, and then like, if she did set me up, like, she did it.
Other rappers have also been accused of similar crimes, including King Val, one of Durk's closest friends in the industry, who paid for the first murder on the list, despite the fact that Durk has been publicly connected to multiple murders for bigger schemes. In a shocking 56-count indictment filed in May 2020, Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis accused Young Thug and 27 other alleged members of YSL of running a deadly street gang in Atlanta. The prosecution claimed that Young Slime Life, a hazardous criminal operation affiliated with the National Bloods gang, was more than just a record label. The fee outlined a reign of terror that lasted 10 years and was centered in the Cleveland Avenue neighborhood of Atlanta. ESL members were accused by prosecutors of a number of offenses, such as drug sales, robbery, assault, murder, and theft. One of the most shocking charges in the indictment was the 2015 killing of N's rival gang member, Donovan Thomas Jr., popularly known as Big Nut. Prosecutors claimed that 5 other USL members were engaged in the murder and that Young Thug had rented the car used in it. This was the main argument, that Young Thug was the group's clear leader. As the trial progresses, the rap world is interested to see if Thug will be held responsible for Big Nut's death. However, it seems that Young and Asty also had their operations murked. Thus, Thug isn't the only one of Durk's rapper friends to have had their operations murked. It turns out that Fulio's mother, who believes her son's death was a professional hit, believes Ace may have planned and financed the murder of his fiercest opponent. Is it a paid hit, in your opinion? Both Quando Rondo and Lil Durk were known to Ace before the feud started.